my fiancé said. My past is off limits. So I made my present off limits, until the truth exploded. Hi, I'm Thomas, 32, and 6 weeks before our wedding, my fiancé told me. My past is off limits. So I made my present off limits too. We were sitting cross-legged on the living room rug, flipping through old photo albums for the wedding slideshow her mom had requested. It was supposed to be light, fun. I'd already shared my embarrassing prom picture, complete with a crooked bow tie and frosted tips. She was laughing, pointing at a sorority photo, when I spotted it. A guy, arm around her shoulder, both of them grinning like it was the best day of their lives. I pointed. Who's that? Her body language changed like someone had pulled the power cord. That's nobody. An ex? She didn't even answer. Just slammed the photo album shut like it had personally offended her. I blinked. What was that? She took a breath. Actually, I've been meaning to bring this up. My past is off limits. You're not allowed to ask questions about it. I just sat there stunned. We'd been together 3 years. Engaged for 8 months. We talked about everything. Jobs, trauma, family dysfunction, therapy, even that one time I got kicked out of a college dorm for hacking into the dining hall menu to add unicorn meat. But now, suddenly, her past was a sealed vault. Since when? Since now. I'm setting a boundary. I'm not the guy who needs a dossier on your dating history, but this wasn't about curiosity. This was about trust. I tried to meet her halfway. Can you just help me understand why? No. It's not about explanation. It's about boundaries. Respect them, or we've got a problem. And there it was. Not a request. An ultimatum. Understood. I said. But I don't think she really understood what that meant coming from me. Because starting that night, I stopped telling her anything, too. At first, it was subtle. She asked what I was doing that Saturday. Just stuff with the guys. She asked about a work project I'd mentioned the week before. Just work things. I wasn't cold, I wasn't rude. I was just private. Polite, detached, unbothered. Exactly how she'd been about her past. By day 3, she noticed. By day 5, she was annoyed. Why are you being so vague? She asked one morning, poking at her eggs like they owed her answers. I'm not. I'm just keeping some things to myself. You know, like you. She stared at me like I just started speaking in riddles. That's not the same. How? She didn't answer. Look, I wasn't trying to be petty. I was trying to demonstrate something very simple. You can't demand access to someone's entire life while keeping yours under lock and key. That's not a relationship. That's surveillance. 2 weeks in, she changed tactics. Sat me down after dinner, her voice softer now. I feel like we're drifting. Like you're pulling away from me. I'm not. I'm respecting your boundary. And implementing mine. But it feels like you're punishing me. No. I'm just learning from the master. She got up and stormed out of the room. The next day, her mother called me. Which is always a treat. My daughter is devastated, her mom said, with the kind of tone that implied I'd keyed her car. She says you've become distant. I've been honoring her privacy preferences, I replied. Didn't realize that was a punishable offense. You're being childish. You're about to marry this girl. And she's about to marry me. Doesn't that mean I deserve transparency too? She sighed. Her past isn't relevant. Then neither is my present. Click. Later that night, my fiancé came home, furious. You made me look unreasonable to my mother. I laughed. You didn't need my help for that. She cried that night. Said she didn't know who I was anymore. And I told her the truth. I'm still me. You're just seeing what it feels like when someone matches your energy. And that was only the beginning. The turning point didn't come with fireworks. It came with a name on her phone, do not answer. It was a random Tuesday morning. She was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping, screen lit up, I glanced. Just instinct. The name alone? Chilled my spine. Who saves a number under do not answer, and doesn't block it? I didn't touch her phone. Didn't need to. My brain was already doing the math. Sudden secrecy. Mysterious photo in the album. The over-the-top boundary. And now this. I didn't know who do not answer was, but I knew exactly what he meant. That same day, her sister showed up. Just let herself in. No knock, no text. We need to talk. She declared like it was an intervention and I was the addict. Do we? You're being ridiculous. She has a right to her privacy. And I have a right to mine. Works both ways. That's not the same thing. She actually stomped her foot. I mean, full-on tantrum stomp. I blinked. She's protecting herself. She went on. She's been hurt before. So I'm her therapist now. She gets to lock parts of herself away, but I'm supposed to hand over my life like it's a conference badge. You're making her cry every night. She snapped. Is that what you want? To break her heart? No, I said calmly. I want to marry someone who believes mutual trust is the baseline, not a favor. Her sister's face changed. You'd call off the wedding, over this? Not over this, I replied. Over the fact that she's hiding why this is a thing at all. Yeah. She left in a huff, muttering something about typical men. 2 hours later, my fiancé came home, eyes red. My sister said you're thinking about canceling the wedding? I'm thinking about whether I can marry someone who wants total access to my future while treating her past like classified intel. I'm not hiding anything bad, she said. It's just complicated. Then why hide it? Silence. Long, guilty silence. I stood. Grabbed my keys. I'm going to stay with my brother for a few days. You figure out what matters more, keeping secrets, or keeping me. You can't have both. She reached for me, pleading. Please don't leave. I love you, I said, but love isn't enough when it's one-sided. And then I walked out the door. I crashed at my brother's place that night. He handed me a beer and a look that said, you're either dodging a bullet or walking into traffic, you figure it out. So? He asked after I'd finished the story. So, either she's hiding something serious, or she just likes control. Maybe both. He nodded. Either way, it's a problem. Want my opinion? Always. Make a plan. Don't sit in limbo. Figure out what you'll do if she never opens up. I hated how right he was. Because the truth was, I already knew. If she chose secrecy, I'd walk. Day 2, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Her mom, her sister. Ignored. One of her friends even DM'd me, saying I was emotionally punishing her. Right. Because apparently asking for equal treatment is now abuse. Cool. Then came day 3. My buddy texted me out of the blue. He bartends downtown. Hey man, not sure if I should say this, but your girl was in here last night. With a guy. Looked cozy. They argued, but he held her hand when she cried. The floor dropped under me. I called him. What did he look like? Tall. Dark hair. Money guy. Designer watch kind of vibe. That matched the photo. The guy with his arm around her in that college pic. My brain filled in the blanks. Do not answer wasn't just some past mistake. He was still around. Still in the wings. I didn't confront her. I just waited. Day 4, she showed up at my brother's apartment. Puffy eyes. Shaking hands. She looked like a storm that finally realized it didn't know how to rain anymore. Please, she said. Come home. I'll tell you everything. I'm not promising anything until I know what I'm walking back into. She nodded. Then dropped the bomb. There was someone. From before you. It wasn't a relationship. Not exactly. He was married. The room froze. So did my pulse. How long? 4 years. She said it like it explained everything. Like it was an answer, not a confession. My chest was tight. 4 years as an affair partner. Then 3 years with me while keeping that secret. 7 years of living in borrowed silence. He's the one in your phone? I asked. Her face went pale. Yes, she whispered. But I never responded. I kept the name there to remind myself not to. You met him 3 nights ago. I just wanted closure. He said he was getting divorced. He said he'd made a mistake choosing her. And you, what? Thought now was the perfect time for a reunion. I didn't think. She said. I panicked. I messed up. I didn't speak for a long time. I just stared at the person I thought I knew. You didn't just mess up. I finally said. You detonated the future. She kept talking. I barely heard her. I told him no. She said. I told him I was engaged. I told him I loved you. Were you happy? I asked, voice flat. She hesitated. just long enough to answer without saying a word. I need to know, I continued. Have you talked to him since we got together? That pause was everything. Just a few times, she finally admitted. Nothing romantic. Just catching up. I closed my eyes. 3 years. 3 entire years, and she kept a back channel open with the man she used to help cheat. Not a mistake. A pattern. A choice. I want my ring back, I said. What? The engagement ring. I want it back. You can't just. I can. And I am. This isn't a break. It's over. Her whole body crumpled. She sobbed, messy and loud. Begged me not to do this. Swore it was over with him. Swore she'd delete his number. Swore on everything. She even grabbed her phone and showed me. See? Deleted. Gone. But it was too late. Not because I didn't believe she'd block him now, but because she hadn't for 3 years. This isn't about the guy anymore, I said. It's about the fact that you lied. Every day. By omission. By silence. You let me build a future with someone who wasn't done being someone else's secret. I was going to tell you. She whispered. When? After the vows? After the honeymoon? After our first kid? She sobbed harder. I let you meet my family. I said. I let you hold my nieces. I let you into every single corner of my life. And you held one of yours behind your back the entire time. I was scared. She choked. I didn't want you to think less of me. I looked her dead in the eye. You should have been scared of what would happen if I found out on my own. And with that, I turned and walked out. This time for good. The next morning, I returned to the apartment while she was at work. I didn't trash the place. I wasn't angry like that. I was surgical. I packed my things, everything I'd bought or paid for. Anything sentimental she'd given me, I left behind. I didn't want her memories anymore. I took photos of everything I packed, timestamped them. I wasn't about to deal with some. He stole my stuff. Drama later. On the kitchen counter, I left the ring in its box. I could have kept it. Legally, I had every right. The engagement ended because of her deception. But the thing is, I didn't want the ring. I didn't want anything that had been meant for the future she sabotaged. I also left a note. Just 5 words. I hope the silence was worth it. The messages started within the hour. First texts. Then voicemails. Some tearful. Some furious. A few begging. One just 3 full minutes of her crying without speaking. I didn't respond. Her mother called me, predictably. Called me a monster. Said I broke her daughter. Her sister texted, saying I'd regret this. Her dad, a man I'd respected, left me a voicemail that ended with, "Real men don't run from complicated women." I laughed out loud at that one. Because real men also don't marry someone who still has emotional leftovers from another man. The best one, though? Her mom again, voicemail number 2. "You're going to die alone. No woman will ever put up with your unrealistic expectations." Unrealistic? I'd asked for basic transparency. I'd asked to not be the only one in the relationship showing my full hand. If that's too much, then I guess I'll die alone with a fantastic therapist, and no secrets. I didn't say any of that. I just turned off my phone for the weekend. And breathed for the first time in weeks. The next 2 weeks were like peeling duct tape off skin, loud, messy, and full of residue. She tried everything. Apologies. Justifications. The classic. "I didn't lie, I just didn't tell you." She even sent me a long message titled, "My Side of the Story." I didn't open it. Because I already knew her side. She'd chosen secrecy. She'd gambled on control. She lost. Then came the escalation. She got a lawyer. That's right. A full-on, billable hours, letterhead-wielding lawyer who emailed me claiming I had wrongfully taken mutual property. I forwarded him my timestamped packing photos and a detailed list of what was mine, plus receipts. His response the next day? "Thank you for the documentation. We're no longer pursuing this matter." Yeah. Thought so. But the drama didn't end there. The apartment lease had both our names on it. I could have fought it. Could have forced her to split termination fees or even stay on it and sublet. But I didn't. I paid the early termination myself. Took the hit to my credit. Walked away clean. Because sometimes freedom costs a little cash and a lot of peace. Then came the smear campaign. Her friends. Her family. Instagram stories with vague quotes about narcissists and emotional abusers. Group chats lit up with backhanded takes. One of her cousins messaged me directly with, "Didn't think you were the kind of guy to ghost a woman over a mistake." I replied once. Just once. Her mistake lasted 7 years. Mine was thinking it wouldn't matter. Silence after that. The real shift came a few weeks in. People started asking. Not yelling. Not accusing. Just asking. Mutual friends. Her old roommate. One of the groomsmen who texted me. "Dude, what really happened?" I told them. Plainly. No flair. No trash talking. She hid a 4-year affair, stayed in contact with the guy while we were engaged, and didn't tell me until I forced the truth out of her. That's why the wedding's off. And just like that, the tide turned. Not dramatically. This wasn't a movie. But quietly, consistently, the assumptions faded. The whispers dulled. A couple of her friends even messaged me to apologize. One of them said, "I only heard her version. If I were you, I'd have walked too." That one? That one made me sit down for a minute. Because validation doesn't heal betrayal, but it does remind you you're not crazy. 6 months later, I wasn't angry anymore. Just clear. I'd moved into a new apartment, smaller, simpler, quiet. No wedding decor haunting the corners. No conversations paused mid-sentence in my head. Just clean countertops and a lock I changed myself. I wasn't going to post another update. I figured the story was done. But then something happened that pulled me back in. The married guy, the do not answer guy, his divorce got messy. How do I know this? Because his ex-wife reached out to me. Yeah. Wild, right? She found my contact through some old emails my ex had sent during the affair. Apparently, he'd been paranoid I was the other man and had been digging. Irony. Turns out he was projecting hard. When his wife found the truth, she nuked him. Private investigator. Receipts. Hotel bookings. Joint credit cards used for gifts. And it got worse. My ex had apparently been bragging in texts about how he'd always come back to her. The wife wasn't contacting me out of revenge. She just wanted to confirm I wasn't another piece of the cheating puzzle. We talked for almost an hour. It was strangely therapeutic. She said, "He's your problem now." I said, "Not anymore." Apparently, after our breakup, my ex let him move in. The dream, right? The man she'd always wanted. Finally single. Finally available. Guess how that turned out? 2 months later, he started working late. She found texts. Not even clever ones. He was already seeing someone else. I didn't feel vindicated. I didn't even feel smug. I just felt tired. Because that's what liars do. They lie. Not once. Not in a moment. But as a lifestyle. My ex had told herself a fairy tale. That their secret was special. That it wasn't really cheating if you felt something. That the man who betrayed his wife for you wouldn't dare betray you. But leopards don't change. They just find better lighting. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents. Her dream house? His name was on the lease. She had nowhere to go. Most of her friends? Burned out. The ones who defended her? Tired. Done. Do I feel bad for her? A little. Do I feel responsible for helping her? Not in the slightest. My job had ended the moment she chose secrets over honesty. Over me. Life didn't go back to normal. It just went forward. And forward is underrated. The trust issues? Still there. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. I double-check things now. Read between lines I used to take at face value. It's not paranoia, it's awareness. Pain sharpened my instincts. I see relationships differently. Transparency is no longer a bonus. It's a baseline. If you flinch when I ask simple questions, we're not going to work. If your version of intimacy is, "Here's everything but the one thing you might not like," then I'm out. The old me? Would have tried harder to understand. Would have bent backward to make her comfortable. Would have held the silence like it was my job to keep it warm. The current me? I don't hold what someone refuses to share. A few weeks ago, I was at a barbecue. Just friends, summer beers, loud music. One of my buddies brought a new girl. She and I got to talking. She asked, "So, you ever been engaged?" I laughed. Once. Didn't stick. She smiled. Same. There was something clean about it. No tension. No performance. Just a quiet understanding that people break, and sometimes not together. That night, I went home and looked through my old files. The wedding folder was still there. I never deleted it. Just ignored it. It was full of things I'd planned for a future that didn't happen, venues, playlists, even a letter I'd written for her to open on our honeymoon. I opened it. It said, "No matter what happens, you have me. All of me." I sat with that for a while. Not sad. Not nostalgic. Just grateful to know better now. Because all of me is a gift. Not an obligation. And if someone treats it like a burden, they don't get to keep it. My brother and I met for drinks last weekend. He asked if I regretted how I handled it, the matching her energy, the cold answers, the walkout. No, I said. Because it worked. He raised a brow. It worked. It showed me who she really was. Before I married her. He clinked his glass against mine. To seeing people clearly. I nodded. To clarity. And peace. It's strange how clarity doesn't always feel like triumph. Sometimes it feels like sitting alone on your balcony at midnight, whiskey in one hand, city noise below, and just breathing. No fireworks. No movie montage. Just space. And space, when you've been entangled with someone who made honesty a negotiation, is the real victory. I didn't date for a while. Not because I was heartbroken. Honestly, I wasn't. What I felt was something closer to emotional whiplash. Like I'd been sprinting blindfolded, then someone yanked the mask off and said, "Now look at the road you almost ran down." So I gave myself the thing I'd given her so many times, patience. Some nights, the what-ifs tried to creep in. What if she told me the truth from the start? What if she'd actually blocked his number instead of pretending to? What if I'd just accepted her boundary and moved on? But then I always circled back to the same realization. If I had accepted her terms, I'd be married to someone who believes love is a one-way mirror. And that would have destroyed me slowly. My worth isn't built on someone's capacity to be honest. It's built on mine to walk when they won't be. I'm 32 now. A little older. A hell of a lot wiser. And I don't expect perfection from the next person. I expect imperfection with honesty. I expect hard conversations and messy truths. What I don't expect is to be told, "You don't get to ask." Because if the person I'm building a life with doesn't think I deserve their past, they don't deserve my future. The last time I saw her was 3 months ago. Random. Grocery store. She looked thinner. Tired. I almost didn't recognize her. She froze when she saw me. I just nodded. No drama. No scene. Just a polite, quiet nod. She didn't nod back. Maybe because she realized I'm no longer the man she can break with silence. And that was closure enough. A month ago, I got an invitation in the mail, handwritten, formal, cream-colored envelope. It was from her. No, not for a reconciliation. For a wedding. Hers. She's marrying someone else this fall. A name I didn't recognize. Probably not do not answer, but who knows? Or cares? The irony? The invitation came with a note. "I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry for everything. I really am. I hope someday we can be friends again." I stared at that line for a while. Friends again. Like we'd ever really been. Friends don't lie for years. Friends don't ask you to bury your questions so they can stay comfortable. I didn't respond. I wasn't angry, just resolved. Some people see apologies as brooms. Sweep the past away, make the floor look clean. But I'm not a floor. And she doesn't get to stand on me anymore. I tucked the invite into a drawer. Not out of bitterness. Just as a reminder, some people will always choose secrecy, even when the truth could have saved everything. I ran into one of her old friends last week. The kind who used to ignore me at parties but now looked awkward. She gave me a half smile. "Hey. Just wanted to say, you did the right thing." I blinked. "Sorry?" "With the breakup. Everyone thought you were cold at first, but, after everything came out, yeah? You dodged something." I nodded. "Took me a minute to see it." "Better than taking a lifetime." She walked away, and I stood there for a moment, letting that sink in. Better than taking a lifetime. Because that's what I almost gave her. A lifetime of trust. A lifetime of trying to read her silences like they were normal. A lifetime of looking the other way every time something didn't add up. Instead, I gave myself something else. Distance. Peace. A future that doesn't come with fine print. I still believe in love. I just believe in love with clarity. And next time? I'm reading the whole book, no skip chapters. 6 months after it all ended, I pinned something to the wall above my desk. Not a photo. Not a souvenir. Just a printed quote. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. She showed me. Not just in what she hid, but in what she expected me to accept. Silence. Control. A future built on missing pieces. And I believed her. Now, I'm not bitter. I'm better. Not because I won, but because I walked. That's the real win. Walking away from someone who treated honesty like a burden and love like a transaction. She wanted a partner who'd never ask. I wanted a partner who'd never have to hide. We weren't a match. We were a warning. So if you're reading this, wondering if it's worth it to push back when something feels off, do it. Ask the question. Set the boundary. Match the energy. And if their version of love requires your silence, walk. Your peace is not too expensive. Your clarity is not too much to ask. It's the bare minimum. Thanks for listening. Stay sharp. Stay steady. Stay you.